Good morning. I am out here at some temples. I've just ridden. Should pause that. Just ridden about 20 k's on the way out here. So here I am. Pre-Code Temple. Started an hour later than I want to do. Very hungover. Bit of context, I was meant to start this at like 9 in the morning earlier, beat the heat. But the night before, did this sunset tour. Yeah, a few beers, nice sunset, lovely. Then things escalated. Yeah, beer tower. Cambodia, baby. All right, so for even more context, this is where I was. I was in Siem Reap in Cambodia. I was staying at the Lub D hostel, which is actually pretty good. Had a private room. It was pretty cheap. The food was good. The people were good. Made some good friends there. They had a pool. It was close to like Pub Street and the Old Market and heaps of cool restaurants. And yeah, I highly recommend you stay there if you ever visit Siem Reap. And as to why I am so hungover out at an old temple is because I wanted to check out Angkor Wat on a bicycle. So I asked Google, can you do that? And I found some guy's blog that said you could. So I followed his itinerary. What it didn't mention was how many kilometers this ride would be. And as you can see, I'm already 20 kilometers in. And as I already mentioned, I'm very hungover. So the blog recommended that I ride at maybe 9:30 at the latest to beat the heat. Yeah, I don't think I started till 10:30. And I needed to actually go rent a bike. And that bike being a Trek hardtail mountain bike, which, yeah, look, it was fine. It did the job. I think I maxed out at like 17 kilometers an hour. It was a slow old day, but hey, we got there. So I started one morning, picked up my bike in the city, and then rode out to the Angkor Park pass ticket counters. So I got a 3-day pass. I think it was about $50 USD. Which is, that's pretty reasonable for what you're getting. And proceeded to ride out to Prasat Bakong. What I didn't realize though was it was like 10 Ks on this part of the road, Highway 6, with signs to Phnom Penh. Many buses and trucks passing narrowly by me as I rode on the shoulder. It was sketchy, to say the least. It was pretty grim. I was sweating bullets. Wasn't having a great time at this point. However, I got out to Prasat Bakong, and past me, we'll take it from here. Wow. This is pretty crazy. Ninth century. Here we are. The biggest temple out here, which is Bakong. And lots of elephant shrines. After some serious self-doubt, I was so close to bailing, riding back the 20Ks or whatever, and just hanging out at the hostel all day. I'm so glad I didn't know. I decided to persevere and push my way through to the main temple complex, which I felt like was a major achievement. I was pretty cooked at that point in time. However, this ride seemed to sort me out, because by the time I got into the temple area, it was jungle cover, the temperature had dropped quite a bit because it's nice and shaded, and the ride itself was actually pretty interesting. Like, you know, here's a young kid just herding some cows along. Wow. Very impressive. You know, people scootering around, and I was off the main road at this point. And even in the temple complex area here, in this main area, it's like good infrastructure for riding. Highly recommend it. If I'd do this again, I'd probably wear some bike shorts. Yeah, not a bad idea. And maybe get a better bike, but hey, let's not knock the trek. But also these paths here, no one was using them, and they're like perfect like bike paths, and and then next thing, there's a temple just popping out in front of you like this. It's pretty awesome. So again, highly recommend riding Angkor Wat if you've been thinking about it. Plus, you just take it at your own speed, your own tempo. All right, pretty calm. 43 Ks in. Don't worry, I did stop for lunch. Pulled into this joint with a little raised platforms, let the dogs breathe. Laid back. It was a good setup, actually. I had a whole raised platform to myself, a little chaise lounge cushion situation, can of Coke, and a bit of beef lok lak, traditional Cambodian dish. It sorted me out. It was good. It was real good. As you can see, watched a bit of telly as well. I think that was free to air. What a tight ass. So this is Pre-Khan Temple, and I think it's 10th century. I think I said that. And the temples you see today, they sort of range between the 9th and the 12th century. They are Hindu temples. Some of them do have Buddhist shrines within them. And that was later on in the empire. There was like a bit of a melding of religions there. But before Hinduism, the Khmer people, they believed more in this idea of like spirits and water spirits and earth spirits. And so a lot of that story of theirs, when Hinduism became like their predominant religion, their own creation stories became sort of intertwined with Hinduism, and with particular reference to the Naga, which is a serpent and has a strong connection to water. So the Khmer people already had a strong connection with water. And in Hinduism, the Naga is like a water spirit. So that then becomes a really strong feature within these temples. My second temple done for the day. I hopped back on the old white whip and cruised on over. Nice easy ride to Nikpon. This big old lake with a temple in the middle.
But this is like a massive lake. Yeah, and there's a temple right in the middle of it. The Sonli Tap Lake, which is the biggest lake in Southeast Asia, is like right here, next to Siem Reap. It's right there.
Cool thing about the Tonle Sap, it is a lake that runs into the Tonle Sap River that then intersects with the big, mighty Mekong, River Mekong. You know it goes through Vietnam down south there. And in monsoon season, the Mekong swells up so much that it reverses the flow and pushes all this water up into the Tonle Sap. And then you get these flooded villages like this. All of Angkor Wat was like that. So it was perfect, like irrigation setups for rice. But as a result, geopolitically, like people wanted it, right? The Cham, they wanted it. Thailand wanted it. Everyone wanted it. But the Khmer weren't having a bar of it. They were like, nah, this is our rice. No one's getting it. And they had some pretty good irrigation systems, let me tell you. They were channeling that water pretty far up because the temples aren't that close to the lake. So it's very impressive. So to have like, you know, this temple here, which is, it's got this like lake temple in the middle situation. Crazy engineering. These guys were killing it. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. Go on the trek and a little 2-kilometer ride to Ta Song. Not a lot going on here other than
Apparently it's got a cool tree.
Right, so back on the bike again, and another 2.5-ish kilometer mosey on down to East Nippon. I think I caught Boon. Anyway.
10th century, East Nippon. Alright, it's getting late in the afternoon. So this place is famous for these elephants. And yes, that is thunder.
The tale continues. So this is also a water temple that is bone dry. She's out there on the plateau, arid, not a drop in sight. Oh yeah, she's dry. Let me tell you. But the reason for it to be dry and no longer a beautiful lake temple like Neek Pone is because when the Tonle Sap would flood during the rainy season, that's Cambodia is so flat anyway that when it floods, like the water goes pretty far. And so what they were doing, they were like channeling the water, creating these irrigation systems, and like stretching that water to go a bit further, and utilizing the hell out of it, growing rice. But what happened was later in the empire, and quote unquote the fall of the empire, they didn't really go away. They didn't, it's not technically a fall. It's like just the end of that era, right? There was a big drought. It was like 50-year drought or something. And so when you rely on this ebb and flow of the lake swelling, and you have water and it brings like silt and nutrients, and I think that lake is like so dense with all these different fishes, the skate, right? That eventually you're screwed. So that's what happened.
This is this dude's Watt whip. Maddest temple whip out here. Sick gravel bike. Just a big steely. Couple of panniers, heaps of water. 2 cans. So good. No, thank you. And then my old whip over here.
Oh yeah, that was a good coconut. So quick scoot down onto Pre-Rup. That was only like a kilometre or so. That was nice. That's where I stopped for a coconut. And I also bought a scarf. I didn't like buying the scarf at the time, but I just didn't have it in me to say no to the lady. She was very persistent. So we struck a deal. I got the coconut for free essentially, and then bought a scarf. I think I got ripped off. I paid like $10. But anyway, this was the last temple of the day.
So it's just started raining. Final temple. Check it out anyway. All right, Pre-Rup temple. Hello.
Hello.
Keep going.
None. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
As I ascend the stairs for the final time today, and let me tell you, there were so many stairs, these temples. Oh man, they're like, you're riding. So I reckon I'm like 50, 60 Ks in, and then you've got to do a bazillion stairs. What? No one tells you about this. The blog and I'll link the blog because it's good. I recommend following it. But it doesn't mention, maybe it mentioned somewhere, but it didn't mention how long these, the distance. And I definitely could have Googled that. It's so easy. But anyway, I'm really thankful that Cambodia is so flat. It's great. I definitely do this. Ride around Angkor Wat. This is so much fun. This is the Grand Circuit. I had the best day. If I can do it hungover, you can definitely do it. Like, it was a cheapo bike, no worries. Absolutely no worries. Get stuck into it. This was meant to be the sunset temple, the last temple of the day. Still, look at it. It's stunning. How cool is this? What a day. I had the best time. Up in this little hidey hole here, having a blast. So, yeah, if you're thinking about doing it, just bloody do it. Get out there. See the world. I got to ride home in the rain and had the best time. So whatever it is that you want to do, just do it. Go and book the flights, just go and drive to that mountain you want to climb. Just go and do it. You're going to have the best fun. You're not going to regret a thing. Take a risk. To close out this final leg, I rode back in the rain, which was a godsend, let me tell you. So it was about 14 Ks and it was nice and I was exhausted.
But yeah, that was it. 70 Ks all up. I'm buggered. So I think I'm just gonna get some food. Yeah. So that was awesome. That was heaps of fun.